We are all in the same cycle. We don't realize how the hours pass by on that phone we said we just checked for 5 minutes. Other people's perfect lives, their filtered faces, and happiness squeezed into 15 seconds. As we watch them, our own lives, our own bodies, and even our own partners start to seem inadequate. So, what does every video we scroll down on those little screens actually take away from us? Will our self-esteem now be determined only by the number of likes? As our scrolling speed increases, aren't we also losing our patience and our ability to focus? Let's say we showed willpower and protected ourselves somehow. But how can our children protect themselves? Today, we are taking a psychological X-ray of social media trends. From young people's search for identity to the tests of boundaries and trust in modern relationships, we talked with clinical psychologist Meltem Bilgici about everything you can imagine with complete transparency. Please make sure to watch this video until the end. I'm Dr. Umutozdemir. Welcome to my channel. If you're ready, let's begin. Welcome, Meltem.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about a very difficult topic. Why? Because we're going to discuss social media. This is also a social media platform, of course. In fact, we might feel as if we're guests in someone's home, criticizing the host or even taking a jab at them. But it's also an important topic that needs to be discussed. It's a popular topic too. Yes? In fact, there's very recent news right now. In fact, after we spoke, a social media law is about to come before Parliament. There are many aspects to this topic. It has positive and negative effects on relationships. It has extremely negative effects on children. We will talk about many topics. I want to start with a softer introduction. Social media is important. I use it a lot too, especially YouTube. I follow many programs almost every day to get information. And I've realized that I hardly watch television anymore. I mean, whatever topic you're curious about, you can actually get information from there.
It's a place where we can be nourished.
Very. We can be nourished, spend time, learn, and what we learn into life is also a space where we can apply it. You want to cook a meal? The recipe is there. You want to play a musical instrument, for example, you're curious, very quickly there. You can get information and get started. Or you think you've been wronged. You want to create public opinion. Again, social media is important. So we can never deny the importance of social media. Of course, we can't deny it. It's with us at every moment, in every way. It's a medium we use. But of course, it also has many negative aspects. I'd like to start with this question. Now, there's this social media situation that entered our lives with Facebook about 20 years ago. But we adapted to it very quickly, and it became a situation as if humanity has been using this social media for thousands of years. What vulnerability or hunger of ours did these social media platforms catch on to that we became so addicted? What do you think?
Well, I think it targeted our vulnerabilities and our hungers. I mean, social media. It targeted where people have a hunger and a vulnerability, and ultimately, this is also a medium where money is made. And what it targeted was, again, relationships. I mean, in the past, in the times we grew up, relationships were more from the right brain to the right brain. They were on the street, they were within the family. We would get the things we couldn't get from our family, from our neighbors. We would get them from our grandmother, from our grandfather. Right now, we are living in a much more isolated period. Why? Because our perception of danger is higher, our perception of threat is higher. So people who couldn't be nourished by relationships started to be nourished a bit more by the masked relationships on social media. Therefore, rather than the perception of danger and threat outside, they developed a relationship network on social media where they felt safer. The safe part is a bit, of course, relative. I mean, that is also an area very open to danger. Thus, people there started to meet their needs to be visible, their needs for relationships, their needs for conversation, and perhaps to meet their need for conversation in a masked way. In this context, I mean, of course, it's been in our lives for 20 years, but it appeals to every age group on Facebook. When you look closely, I mean, even an 80-year-old person uses it. Now, 20-year-olds might prefer other platforms, but ultimately, this meets our need for relationships right now.
There's also this, when it first came out, maybe we joined to find our elementary school friends.
Like that.
We entered this space. But then these situations of likes and approval emerged, and the number and intensity of those likes started to become more important than what we shared, it seems, right?
Yes, because it goes exactly to our need to be seen and to be approved. I mean, none of us are complete in that sense. I mean, we weren't raised by flawless and perfect parents, or do they even exist? I don't know if such a parenting role model exists, but for the parts of us that weren't seen, we are actually compensating for them on social media today. I mean, we are making up for it. So as the likes increase, I become more visible. What makes me visible? My outfit is liked, my hair is liked, my makeup is liked, or the things I eat, the places I travel. And it also meets a need for stimulation there. Someone there gives a like or sends a message. When they write a sentence of approval, the person also meets their need for stimulation there. They are actually experiencing the schema of staying in a relationship with someone, of relating.
Validation, of course, it's actually a very human need. It's an undeniable need, but I wonder obsessively, to obsessively desire to be liked all the time, constantly, saying like me or like what I share, I guess that's where the problem starts to arise.
Of course, that falls under the category of unhealthy use. We'll probably talk about that as well. I mean, when we use it in a healthy way, as you said, it has many enriching aspects. It's easy to access information and we do things to improve ourselves. We nurture our productivity. These are the proper uses, but there are also unhealthy uses. Is the unhealthy use a cause or a consequence? This also needs to be evaluated carefully. I mean, a person might actually be feeding the unhealthy use due to their own underlying pathology, or it could be that using it can sometimes trigger their own pathology. So, this creates a bit of a cycle in itself.
Each individual has their own internal dynamics.
Exactly. I mean, person A and person B might not be negatively affected to the same degree by the same usage.
Or someone who wasn't validated enough in their childhood or young adulthood. Maybe
Unseen.
individuals, right? Could they be developing more of an addiction in this regard?
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. Of course, it's also possible to make friends through many dating sites or over social media. And actually, at this point, the world has become extremely smaller. There are positive sides to this as well. If you're very curious about a topic, let's say if you really enjoy playing the piano and you want to interact with people who play the piano, if you want to be in an interaction, that's very easy. Independent of language, you can contact people and make friends all over the world, in every country. You can even meet them physically. With them, actually, it's very, when used correctly, it has a side that opens up many horizons. But despite this, people feel lonely. Do we feel lonely even in such a crowd?
I think loneliness, in my opinion, is not a matter of distance. Loneliness is a matter of connection. I mean, how strong is that connection? I mean, we can feel lonely even in a large crowd, as you said. We can reach so many people, we can access so much information, but we feel lonely. This goes a bit more to the foundation of a person's attachment. And also, it's like the more effort we put into a relationship, the more we strengthen the bond. I tend to look at it from this perspective. I mean, when we communicate with a lot of people, lonely, it doesn't actually mean that we're not. How strong are the bonds we can form? How much effort can we put into that relationship? And in the virtual world, it seems this effort part is a bit lacking because it's more consumption oriented. I mean, I'm saying this because you gave the piano example. Someone who likes the piano or is interested in the piano, we can find someone else. Isn't that right? So there's no need to put that much effort into that person. Therefore, the bond doesn't get stronger in that situation, actually. I mean, the basis of loneliness is actually a lack of connection, not feeling a bond to a certain extent.
Of course, the quality of the bond is also important. Instead of making a large number, millions of connections, maybe making a few high quality ones is a much more nourishing thing. Now, with the development from last December, the Australian government passed a law and completely banned the use of social media for anyone under the age of 16. Even creating a social media account is banned. And existing accounts, as I understand it, will be closed down. Of course, I predicted that this will certainly have an impact on other countries as well. And our country didn't stay far behind. And I believe that soon it will introduce some restrictions on social media, at least regarding its use by children. It's an important law, and I think it has its positive aspects, but what are your thoughts? I mean, was there really no other option left? I mean, can banning it be a solution? How are we going to protect our children from the harmful effects of social media? It's an important question, of course. What do you think?
It seems like a very drastic decision. Yes, children are being harmed a lot by this. I think so as well. But it is a very drastic decision. How could it have been done differently? Perhaps a more gradual transition could have been made. I mean, the content could be blocked. The content on those social media networks could be filtered a bit because children get nourishment from it at the same time. I mean, in this globalizing era, children can reach someone on the other side of the world. So instead of a complete ban, I think a more filtered, more gradual transition could have been implemented.
I guess the problem also stems from this. I mean, bypassing these filters is very easy for children. I mean, now the people who make the laws or are not like our age group, they adapt quickly, and those children can find a way to overcome those obstacles. But in my opinion, another problem is this. I mean, rather than the social media content creators, the social media dominating entities, those cartels, let's say, or those platforms, children put a lot of harmful content in front of them, consciously or unconsciously, even without the child's request or demand. I mean, and you can't reason with them, from what I understand.
I think they put it out there consciously because everything is consumed in an interconnected way right now. I mean, relationships are consumed, food is consumed, other pleasure based games, everything is consumed. All of these things are very interconnected. When a child is playing a game, an ad pops up in the middle of it. It appears and is encouraged.
The child isn't asking for it. They're not saying, "Wow, get this out for me." They don't, yes. And there, your child, my child, everyone's child is precious, of course, and suddenly something just appears before them.
Yes. I mean, I find this decision very drastic because it's already very common among children. They're already using it. A more gradual transition could be made. Of course, how that would be done is up for debate. The experts on this can sit down and discuss it. But bans are always very tempting.
Yes, there's that aspect to it as well.
These children are in their identity development phase. They want to access information and they benefit a lot from these platforms. There are lonely children, for example, who get their social nourishment from these places. A more controlled transition could be made, if you ask me.
Yes, I mean, as I said, what needs attention is that it might not be that hard to overcome these bans. Absolutely. We must be careful. It could even turn into a market. A child under 16 might not be able to open that social media account, but an adult can. And then
It's definitely very dangerous, isn't it? The role falls more on the parents here, I think. The task falls to them. Of course, even before getting to that point, parents have very serious responsibilities. In fact, it's because those responsibilities are not being met that children exhibit so much addiction on those platforms. Maybe parental controls can come into play here, but parents don't have much energy for that right now. Their knowledge,
energy's low, limited.
their knowledge is limited and they have no energy. There's too much hustle and bustle. Especially people living in big cities don't have the energy to spare for this. But I think instead of bans, parental controls can be increased and parent education can be increased. Parents can be informed about their children's needs and about where and how children can be nurtured. In that regard, support can be provided to parents. A ban doesn't seem appealing to me.
From what I've seen and read, the Australian government is coming out with an argument like this, meaning we are taking this burden off the families, meaning we are taking on your responsibility to monitor, we are giving you some space, because really this Gen Z's banning it isn't the solution, and maybe not cutting off the internet entirely, but cutting off the social media aspect. I don't know. It's a very debatable topic.
I also thought about this when you said it. It takes the burden off the parent. It sounds very nice. Okay, but when we take this away from the child, when that child is left with nothing to do, doesn't that place an extra burden on the parent? Because the child is there precisely because the parent couldn't fill that void on social media. So we need to educate the parents. in every way. How to spend time with the child or what guidelines are needed to raise the child.
The parent is also a role model. They should be an example.
Right? I mean, we have those platforms in our hands too, and most of the time it's convenient for us, for the child to actually spend a little more time on their own, because we also find space to rest this way. So, what are we going to do now? They've banned it. The child wants attention. The child says, I'm bored. The child wants to move. So, I think this gap needs to be planned well. When you ban something, you also need to organize well for the problems that will remain.
I think families will struggle a bit here.
Maybe. Absolutely. I think they will struggle as well. Let's say they go out for a meal now. The child has a phone in their hand because it's very difficult to get down to the child's age and also have a conversation with them. And it's not something that's very convenient for us either. Since we don't prefer to do that, children grow up with these pathologies. I think these aspects should be well organized.
Yes, it's a complex topic. Now, of course, social media also has subgroups, especially this topic of short videos. It's a trend that started with TikTok. Then on Instagram, Reels, short videos on YouTube. I mean, every social media platform has embraced this in a way. But I guess the part we dislike the most, the part we can call the most dangerous, lies here, because it's not very easy to focus either.
A direct neuronal effect.
And there are effects. There's music, there are exploding, popping elements. And I also noticed that it really locks a person in. You focus on it in an instant and you don't even know what you're looking at. You don't know. And it's a space that can be scrolled through forever. I mean, it seems like it has no end. What do you think? I mean, these short videos, the short video trends, those 15-second, 30-second videos, what kind of harm do they do to the brain?
It creates attention problems, that's for sure. For one thing, it turns the perception of time upside down. I mean, in a place you enter thinking you'll just be there for 5 minutes. We end up staying for an hour or two and then leave. And for children, controlling this is even more difficult. As adults, we can still control it in some way. It creates a dopamine effect because short-term pleasure, what is dopamine? It's a chemical that actually controls pleasure. What does it say? This gave you pleasure, keep going. Move on to the next one, move on to the next one. It appeals to a more impulsive side of us. Our impulsive side is actually our most primitive side. When we are born, it's like, let me be fed, let a source of pleasure come, let me be soothed. These kinds of needs. And when a child is born, they are impulsive. They are focused only on their own needs. They are focused only on their own pleasure. They constantly want to receive. The child has no reality of the other. I mean, I exist, but regarding the outside world,
just a single thought simply
doesn't exist. The ability to empathize is more limited. And over time, we start to get acquainted with external reality in childhood. What is the timing for this? Age 2, age 3. They say, I exist, but so does the other. The child, that is. Now, with social media, with these short videos, we are actually returning to a primitive point, more pleasure-oriented. This gave me pleasure. Yes.
Now and immediately, without delay.
Immediately. There is no postponement at all. But how realistic is that? It's not realistic because we can't be pleasure-oriented in our work lives. We can't be pleasure-oriented in our social lives. So people don't chat anymore because they get bored.
We can't chase pleasure 24/7 either.
We can't. It's very contrary to our reality. I mean, we are individuals living within a society. This is also contrary to our reality. In a way, this also leads people to loneliness and introversion. They say, I'll go out, but chatting with someone is boring. I'll just play a game at home or watch a video. So it has a consequence of increasingly isolating people. Now, when the brain's dopamine side is constantly triggered, along with the pleasure principle, the brain constantly wants pleasure. Pleasure more quickly in the shorter term.
It's not enough.
It's like fast food, let it come right away so I can eat it. I want that pleasure right away, but after a while, it's like, okay, let the next one come.
There's work, there are responsibilities, there's homework.
Of course, I mean, it's not very realistic. There's no part of it that's suitable for life. That's why we might be trying to protect children or adults from these things.
It takes over quickly too.
Yes. In a way, it's also like gambling. I mean, right away.
Result
Actually, those
movements, those animations are just like the activities or actions, the various movements you see in slot machines in casinos.
yes. And it appeals to the five senses. And in normal life, in fact, some things don't appeal to the five senses. That's why it disconnects us so much from normal life, or it hinders our adaptation to work. It hinders our social adaptation. It hinders our adaptation in relationships. I mean, it's immediately next. Okay, I got my satisfaction here. I have to move on to the next one. I have to move on to the next one. It's actually an insatiability in a way.
You also mentioned pleasure, but the opposite of pleasure is anxiety.
Anxiety? Yes.
They're siblings. I mean, if there's pleasure, there's also anxiety. If pleasure increases, anxiety increases too, right? So this time, from the moment you're deprived of that pleasure, you're faced with anxiety
Will I get pleasure again? Will it come again?
and people start to show withdrawal symptoms. For instance, you panic when your cell phone's battery dies. I mean, it's something that happens to everyone. Did I miss something? Am I missing out? Did some important news come out that I missed? Actually, it's not something that aligns with reality. We don't constantly receive urgent news.
I mean, unless we're a physician, unless we're a surgeon, if no one is going to die when they can't reach us, it's not very realistic. I mean, when we look at it,
These are actually arguments from the last 20 years, 15 to 20 years. Before that, of course, these didn't exist. Now, of course, as you're talking, I'm also thinking in the background. Exactly. It appeals to our ID, our impulses, and our most primitive senses. It has a side that appeals to our minds. Social media, especially short videos. Now I'm thinking about animals, I'm thinking about cats. They really enjoy following moving objects. I mean, it can't stay still. That moving object actually appeals to its ID. Impulsive animals, impulses, it's the same for us. I mean, because it appeals to our animalistic impulses, our most primitive impulses, we can get stuck like cats. Maybe, right? I mean, it's an interesting situation.
yes, but we have other things to do to survive, or rather, we have other responsibilities. We can't live by our impulses like animals do. You know, like I ate, I found food, let me eat it, or I don't know, let it happen right now. We can't do those things.
Now, for a cat, it's like, am I hungry or not? Am I in danger or not? Are there other cats around or not? Now,
That's the cat's only concern.
it has a few concerns. So, of course, we are more complex creatures than cats. I mean, it's not very,
Realistic, this life for a human, I mean,
but this can, of course, push us into an unrealistic plane. Us, and as humans, we also have the risk of getting stuck there. That's why I guess it's a bit dangerous.
it is dangerous, yes. But now you said this creates anxiety. Well, you know, there's anxiety as the counterpart to pleasure, or at a point where they go side by side. For people with high anxiety, it might be the case that they focus more on pleasure. I mean, you know, I'm going to come back to the context of cause and effect. I mean, people who want to reach pleasure quickly might also be more anxious people because they want to get away from that anxiety as soon as possible. An object, pleasure, they need to be soothed by an object that will give them pleasure. People without anxiety can make a bit more room for this, for lack of pleasure, just like that. To be able to stay, to be able to stand in the void, to be bored. Anxious people can't make room for that because they approach it with an impulsivity of let it happen now, let it all happen, let it happen right now. You see, they might be drawn to it more, to short videos.
Of course, that much anxiety may not be a burden that can be carried for people. At certain places and at certain times, when a person can't manage this anxiety, it can perhaps turn into some serious psychological or even psychiatric disorders, this problem, and they may have to get support. And of course, there's another aspect of social media that catches our attention, all of ours. Everyone is very happy. Women are very beautiful, very attractive. All the men are businessmen, extremely rich and wealthy. Yes, I guess. It's not really like that.
I wish it were, though.
But on social media, of course, everyone is like that. They're trying to appear that way. I mean, well, when you go to certain places, instead of enjoying those places, those constantly sharing things from those places or showing off the watch on my wrist, depicting it, photographing it, constantly bringing material things to the forefront, or somehow revealing one's beauty. Now, of course, this is something that's very contrary to the realities of life, but doesn't it also create stress for people? I mean, everyone is beautiful, everyone is happy, everyone is rich, but I'm not.
Yes, now the people who share these things are more powerful. First, let me talk about them more. They are perceived as more powerful. How does a normal person do it? I have my flaws, but I'm enough. I'm whole. I'm whole with my flaws. But the people who try to show these things in this way, their flaws, are actually creating a perception to cover them up. It's like a store's window display. My window display is very beautiful. We actually look at the climate when forming a relationship, not the window display. The window display, yes, it's attractive at some point, but we need to develop relationships where the climate is more important. Otherwise, it's like the back of this window is bad. Let me move on to the next window. It's actually a screensaver. It can't be said that this is very healthy, of course, and no one claims it is. This is the screen version of personality pathologies brought to social media. I'm very good. See me for this. Choose me for this. So the person isn't actually chosen for who they are. Well, because they eat at a good place, because they wear a good brand of watch, because they have a good life, the person is chosen for these things. But perhaps the biggest problem we have in relationships is this. When we see the background of the side we chose, that's when the problems start to arise. Yes. Now, on the other side, the people who watch this also see themselves as inadequate.
They compare.
They compare. Why can't I do what they can do? Jealousy and envy arise. And jealousy and envy are actually, jealousy is a bit healthier than envy. But envy is a very destructive emotion.
It also destroys the person.
It destroys the person emotionally and mentally, and it also continuously feeds and strengthens the grudge that they hold against the other person. Envy. People who feel this emotion are, of course, unhealthy people at some point, but these perceptions, it's beneficial to manage them a bit more here. Yes, this is a screensaver, which means it's not real, because everyone shares the moment they are happy. And
they share it with a filter.
Or yes, they share it with a filter. Now, both globally and in our lives, authenticity is starting to come to the forefront a little more. I don't know if you've noticed. More vulnerable leadership styles are coming to the forefront. Because ultimately a person can be fragile.
Not perfect.
Yes, they can't be flawless. If there is perfection somewhere, I think there's a lot to question behind it.
Besides, perfection, it can't even be a goal. Such a utopian situation is not very realistic for a person either.
The thing we call normal is already flawed. It's fragile. I think we need to digest these truths a little bit. And it's always, they are so good. They live so well. The man is so rich. The woman is so beautiful. She goes to the best places. She wears the best clothes. Then
they're always happy.
The truth doesn't require proof. These posts are more like evidence saying, this is how I am. But why? The truth doesn't rely on proof. If I'm happy, I'm happy. At the end of the day, why should I make so much effort for the other person to see it? Why should I disconnect from that moment? Should I disconnect? For example, to take a picture of it, write a text under it, to filter it. By the way, all of this takes time. It all takes time. I'm disconnecting from my time with you, or I'm disconnecting from my time with my child.
And it doesn't end with sharing afterwards, how many likes it got, how many people liked it, how many shares, who saw it, who commented. Sharing might take 5 minutes, but the aftermath of it also takes time. It's always taking away from your time, isn't it? The thing we spend now, social media is a free platform. Yes, but is it really free? What are we really paying for? We are paying for something.
We pay for a lot. Actually, because it's not visible to the eye, it seems free.
It's a topic that's often discussed in economics and social media or in the internet world. If something is free, you are actually the product. You are the one being sold. Or the thing you're selling is actually your life and your time. You're not even aware of it.
Yes, I think doing a social media detox from time to time is very valuable here. But of course, for a person who advertises themselves like this, since they don't build real relationships, since they don't know what a relationship means or what it means to be in the moment, this doesn't feel like a loss to them. So, for someone who doesn't know what they're losing while spending time looking at comments and likes, telling them to do a detox isn't really that meaningful.
There's dopamine, there are opioids in return. I mean, it's a dynamic that appeals to pleasure and the reward systems entirely.
Yes, an artificial relationship.
Yes, yes. And also, from a social media perspective, the phenomenon of stalking has emerged in recent years. I don't know, maybe in the last 5 to 10 years. Is it a healthy thing? Constantly stalking someone, for example, following them?
Well, there are healthy parts to it and unhealthy.
Parts as well. It also creates jealousy and envy.
Well, stalking someone to get to know them, a new person, can be considered healthy. Of course, not too much. What is being done and how is it being done? We need to look at these things. For what purpose is it done? How often it's done? And for what purpose we need to look at that. If we're stalking someone to get to know them, it's not really a problem. But doing this obsessively, nonstop, uncontrollably, if we're doing it to that extent and all the time, then we can say it's unhealthy. But being curious about someone, wondering about their feelings at that moment, wondering what they might be going through, frankly, I don't see anything unhealthy in that.
In isolated instances, of course, it's not unhealthy. But maybe the same person 20 times a day.
Of course, that's an obsessive situation. I mean, here again, it's a result of the person's own pathology. Frankly, that's how we would evaluate it. I mean, if they're anxious, if they have a fear of abandonment, if they're more depressive, if they have low self esteem, they tend to stalk more. But healthy people get curious, it crosses their mind, they take a look and they close it. I mean, they don't dwell on it too much. That side of it isn't unhealthy.
Also, sharing your location seems problematic to me, I guess. I mean, sharing your location everywhere because, well, it can also be an invitation to certain people who might have that, in quotes, stalking disorder. I mean, those people can constantly spend time in places where you're likely to be. The people you think you're running into by chance, you might actually be running into them not by chance, but because they're following you, right? It has its dangers too.
But if we go down that road, we'll trigger the paranoid side of a lot of people. I mean, but isn't sharing your location also a way of saying, I'm here? I mean, don't people share their location to create an opportunity for that person? I'm here.
I mean, there's that too. Maybe sharing it momentarily, I don't know. Although the world is a pretty bad place these days, so I think it's good to be careful. And of course, paranoia is a separate dimension of this issue. But I think being a little bit controlling, I guess, wouldn't be harmful either.
Everything is good in moderation. I mean, being controlling or at the extreme encouraging.
The perception, yes.
One really shouldn't go to extremes at all.
Of course, it also has a side that affects committed relationships. Social media has a side that affects marriages too. Now, when things can lead to what's called digital cheating. I mean, liking someone, liking their posts, writing a comment, sending a message, sending a private message, or in social media terms, sending a flame emoji. Do these things count as cheating?
Well, I think we can categorize this in a few different ways. I mean, what is considered a healthy interaction? Messaging with a coworker, messaging with a social friend. I mean, if my partner knew about this, would it harm our relationship? If the answer to that question is no, then that's the healthy part. If we get into the gray area of it, what is that? This gray area? I mean, if you're developing feelings for someone, if you've started sharing more private moments with them, if you're deleting messages because you think there will be a problem if your partner finds out, if you have that perception, that's the gray area. Okay, so when does it become digital cheating? Well, if you've started sharing more erotic content with the same person multiple times, I mean, if you've started sharing a lot with them within a single day, then I think that also counts as digital cheating
And that can potentially harm relationships.
because it's about trying to complete what you can't find in the relationship. That's what's happening there. Again, we actually come back to the question of whether it's a cause or an effect. I mean, am I seeking fulfillment on social media in a relationship context because of something that's going wrong in my own relationship? Is it an attempt to complete it? Or do I have something like, well, a pathological condition, and is this a way to compensate for it?
Yes, yes. Some couples have this need to document every moment together and constantly post on social media. A sort of sharing sickness, I might call it. They can do things that can lead to an obsessive state. And I think that probably has a side to it that is also harmful to the person. I mean, we are so happy. Let the jealous ones burst. A situation like that also emerges. Again, on the other side, it can also lead to situations like jealousy, envy, or comparing your own partner to someone else's partner.
It's very damaging to relationships in that context. As I said before, relationships don't need proof. I mean, there's an effort to prove something. We're fine, we're so happy. There are probably very bad experiences behind it, but the person wants it to look that way from the outside. A real relationship is already flawed. Sometimes it's boring from time to time, sometimes it's challenging. It's never perfect. I mean, a real relationship. Therefore, in relationships that are portrayed this way, in these we're so great, we're so happy relationships, the background always contains some kind of deficiency. How does this harm the relationship or for the people watching this? When it stirs up feelings of envy and jealousy, what can be the outcome for their relationships? First of all, feelings of jealousy and envy build up aggression. It keeps anger alive. It is destructive. I mean, this is the same for both the jealous person and the one who is envied. It brings about these feelings. On the other hand, it really ruins people's relationships. They say, they went there, why aren't we going? Why can't we do what they are able to do? Because you don't love me enough, you don't care about me. If you valued me, you would do for me what he does for his partner. This kind of thinking actually creates cracks in relationships.
Comparing financially as well.
That
Comparing that couple with your own relationship, of course. All of these are
actually problematic areas. But we need to consider something. I mean, what we call a relationship is something more fulfilling. I mean, it doesn't need evidence or proof. I am happy with this. It has its shortcomings. Of course, every relationship has its flaws. I mean, when two different people come together, it's impossible for something perfect to come out of it. I love it with its flaws. I love it despite that.
despite.
Despite this, yes, a despite relationship. Because unlike what they see people doing on screen, maybe their partner is nurturing them in other ways with other good qualities. But at that moment, we prefer what we see on the screen because it's so embellished, polished, and served up to us. We shouldn't hollow out our relationships. In this way, I mean, I saw this, he did that for her. My partner doesn't do it. My partner does something else. He has other good qualities too. So little by little, relationships are actually hollowed out. And then it's on to the next. There are so many alternatives after all. You know, this is one of the things that social media pumps up. You have many alternatives. You don't have to stay here. If you're unhappy, leave.
As if there are unlimited alternatives, unlimited partner alternatives, or relationship alternatives, right? This situation also gives rise to an illusion.
Therefore, we consume everything. I mean, you know, there's a sentence, it says it very well. What does it say there? It says that if something can be consumed, it is an object. I mean, it's not a subject. We also see relationships as something that can be consumed. But our relationship should not be an object for us. It should actually be a subject.
And when you enter that consumption cycle, eventually someone consumes you too. I mean, you're not always the one who's just consuming.
But the consumer also gets consumed. You know, when you eat too much, you also get exhausted. Your body gets exhausted. Your organs get exhausted. I mean, consumption gives pleasure only up to a certain point. It actually takes you to a place that destroys you.
That relationships are easily disposable. Thinking that they are themes is also a pathology, and social media has a side that feeds this a lot. It feeds it a lot.
I mean, right now, I think the essence of social media or the topic we're talking about is consumption. We consume everything. We consume social media content, we consume videos, we consume relationships, we consume food. I mean, it takes people to a very pleasure oriented place now, but this is not real.
This is actually the drama of modern people. Chasing pleasure.
Yes, it makes people very prone to depression. It increases anxiety. It actually feeds many pathologies very clearly. Social media. Maybe we need to stop here. I mean, because when people come to the clinic with these pathologies, they don't know how much social media is the cause. We need to think about it a little more and have more insight, in my opinion.
Well, I've thought about it a bit, but as adults who use social media, how should we use it? Social media. Or what messages should we convey to our viewers, to our listeners? How should they use social media? What would our recommendations be?
Well, we can follow things that are related to our interests.
We mentioned digital detox, for example.
Detox. It's a good thing I turn it off from time to time and I realize that I'm really in the moment. But we use it. I turn it on again. It's also not possible not to use it because, we also eliminate its nourishing aspects when we don't use it. Social media detox can be done from time to time. What else can be done? Maybe the content can be filtered a little bit. I can watch things related to my interests. Short videos are things I find dangerous because it disrupts attention and perception. It disrupts our brain structure.
There are options like, I'm not interested in this video,
Like, for example, yes, these
can be used.
it could be saying, don't show me these. What else could there be?
Maybe not taking social media into the bedroom, for example.
Absolutely. Limiting it to a certain time and using it in a certain area can be important so that it doesn't affect the relationship.
What comes to my mind is, just like with children, maybe a time
Limit can be set. Self control can be practiced in this regard.
It's technologically quite possible to ensure that social media can't be opened once you've passed a certain daily time limit.
Maybe a work account and a personal life account can be kept separate because it's getting very mixed up now. Of course, people also earn likes and money from this. When we look at it,
There's an economy to it.
of course, there's an economy to this business, but they also violate their privacy a lot. When you look at it, there are things like a person is talking about something important. They're talking in the kitchen, they're talking in revealing clothes, or they're talking in their dressing room. When you look at it, they are violating their own privacy in a way. This is a very problematic situation. It also makes them very vulnerable to danger. Maybe these areas are a bit, it can be restricted for healthy use. That
When that person doesn't protect their own privacy from the outside, it's not possible for someone else to protect it, and it's not wise either.
It normalizes it, but our society is not in a position to handle this, or relationships are not able to handle it.
In a position,
It's not healthy either.
it's not healthy for anywhere. I agree. We see examples of it. A professional talking about a very serious topic. It can be said because we've seen it in the recent past and because it's popular. Lawyers, doctors, even mental health professionals talk about serious topics from the dressing area of their bedroom while putting on accessories or getting dressed. Very serious topics are being discussed, but on the other hand, they are putting on and taking off clothes. It's really unbelievable.
Should we focus on the topic? Should we focus on the accessories? Or should we focus on their outfit? Well,
There's something here, of course, there's bait.
of course, there's a subliminal message here.
There's a subliminal message. It shows other things so that you can get stuck on that clip, on that video, so you can get hooked.
Yes. It's actually smart, for the economy.
From an economic point of view, it can be smart, of course.
Economically,
If it's being watched, right? A lot too.
we love things like that. Getting into a person's private life, entering their mysterious area. But not everyone should do it. Maybe, yes, they are serving something, they are serving an economy, but a person thinks, well, I can do it too. Why should I do this? Yes.
We're making it open to everyone. But of course, when talking about public issues, serious issues, health is a very serious issue. Law is a very serious issue. People's mental health is a very serious issue. Keeping them separate, keeping them a bit more special, not mixing them with private matters.
You're so right. Do not use it otherwise.
Not use it as a tool. It also cheapens it a lot, I guess. I think it also misses the point of the matter. Now, of course, recently, again, With the use of artificial intelligence, we also encounter situations like this a lot. We consult artificial intelligence for everything. Something breaks at home, we consult artificial intelligence, and I really see the benefit of it. I see it a lot too. I mean, you don't even need to call a, in quotes, repairman for it. Something breaks on the computer, a file gets corrupted. There have been many things I've solved by asking artificial intelligence how to fix it, by asking ChatGPT. That has been the case, but some people also use it for things like life coaching or even psychological counseling. In fact, they have started using artificial intelligence for treatments and therapies. What do you think about this? Isn't there a potential for problems here too?
There is. I mean, artificial intelligence can never do therapy. I mean, no matter where the times take us, whatever happens, artificial intelligence cannot do what a human can. Why can't it? Because the basis of our pathologies is relationships. I mean, we have pathologies because we were damaged by the relationships we formed with our parents in our early childhood. Artificial intelligence cannot repair that. So, things that are broken within a relationship will be repaired by a two-person relationship,
It has to repair it.
or it has to repair it. So, artificial intelligence cannot replace that. Of course, for example, I have many clients who use it a lot. One day, one of them said something like, it supports everything, it supports everything. I mentioned that I had anxiety, and it told me to go to the hospital immediately. I was already very anxious at that moment. That's what was on my mind too, but that's not what it should have done.
It's also validating you unnecessarily.
It's very validating. Artificial intelligence cannot be a therapist. Yes, we can consult it for information, we can learn information, but what we call therapy and counseling is something that happens between two people. Expecting help from it like this might feel good to people at first, but I find it dangerous. Because to heal, we need a relationship.
We've also started to read many such examples. Most of them are exaggerated, by the way. Like they saw 10 doctors, couldn't get a diagnosis, but they consulted AI and reached the real diagnosis. And their life changed, their life was saved, things like that. Stories, tales, we've started to hear them a lot. I really think it's very problematic too. I wonder if it might be a bit of a temporary trend because humanity has developed in such a way that, you know, after the artificial version of something comes out, the original, the human to human relationships start to become more valuable. Yes, it will probably be like that. We will appreciate its value, I mean, later on. We will appreciate the value of relationships and we will appreciate the value of real people. And probably, of course, if we spend it that much, accessing those real people, real relationships, will also become, in quotes, very expensive. It won't be easy either.
Yes, but we will pay the price. We will pay the price somewhere for reaching pleasure this easily. For example, many people ask artificial intelligence about their dreams. They have a dream and ask why. Dreams are very precious. I mean, it's the royal road to the unconscious, and we place great importance on dreams in therapy processes. It gives us a lot of information about the client. Now, ChatGPT doesn't know their story of the client. So, where does it interpret the dream from? It interprets it from general knowledge,
It presents a mix of things.
something like that, for example. Therefore, ChatGPT cannot be a therapist. It cannot provide counseling services. We can get information. I'm not denying that, but it will never replace a counseling or therapy process. It will never replace it.
Yes. I think the last 5 years of social media have developed a bit differently. Orhan Hoca, the academician Orhan Hoca, had a saying. I really liked it. Orhan Şener Deli Ormanlı. In the past, we used social media to learn things, to find friends. Yes, we would also gain knowledge at the end of it. But now it seems we use social media more to have fun, to pass the time, to be entertained. And we get loaded with a lot of unnecessary emotions on ourselves, on our backs. And they have a weight. And getting rid of them is also a problem. Getting rid of them is also, in quotation marks, an expense. Because once you catch that feeling, that negative feeling is like a contagious disease, isn't it? It takes a lot of effort to be able to get rid of it.
Yes, we need to be careful to stay a little clean. I mean, without tiring our minds so much, without wearing them out. After all, let's say, we watch people's lives on a platform. As you said, we get loaded with negativity, jealousy, worthlessness, inadequacy. Why can't I do it? And so on. The damage that half hour we spend there does to us is much greater. We can look at a blank wall, for example. I mean, we can spend that moment like that, or we can focus on the things we see with our five senses. We can focus on what we hear. It's like life is flowing and we have this perception that we're missing something, but actually nothing is being missed.
It's called the FOMO reaction. That is the feeling that I'm missing out on things at any moment. The feeling and the tension it creates.
There's no such thing.
Nothing is being missed. Nothing is being missed at all. I mean,
We need to pause a bit.
we need to. Things missed are for that person's own good. We know that.
Do we? It needs to be missed. I mean, it has to be missed. I think we need to pause a little. We need to stop.
To slow down.
We need to slow down. We also need to slow down and stop to protect our children. They also need to experience this. They need to experience boredom. They need to experience being in a relationship. We are going through a very tiring period, and everyone is trying to keep up with everything.
That's a very good point. I think we need to be bored more than ever before.
We need to experience it, boredom,
Our brain doesn't get bored. I mean, it's under constant bombardment and
with unnecessary things.
there's a data flow from everywhere. I mean, one social media platform is a separate data, the other is another data. Our brain is constantly being bombarded from everywhere as if caught in a downpour.
Constantly.
It has to deal with stimuli and has no time to get bored. This also causes time to fly by. I mean, look at it. How fast have the last 5 years gone by? I mean, it's as if the pandemic ended yesterday, but
Absolutely.
5 years have passed since then. I mean, 2021, 2026, a period of 4 or 5 years has passed. Who among us remembers? It's actually because we don't get bored, because our brain doesn't have time to get bored. I was listening to a podcast broadcast. I really liked it. I do it too. From time to time, when I'm walking, I wear headphones, listen to music, and follow podcasts. But even these things, quote unquote, may not be good. Actually, it's about taking off the headphones, listening to the sounds of nature, listening to the birds chirping, trying to feel the sensation of the wind on your skin,
Perceiving the moment with all five senses is your point.
connecting with an animal that passes by, making eye contact with someone.
When I go for a walk in the morning, I usually listen to something, music and stuff, but sometimes I feel the need and I say to myself, today I'm going to connect with things. I won't wear those headphones. Yes, I won't wear them. Because headphones don't just disconnect you from your surroundings through sound. You don't focus on your surroundings. You lose the visual aspect. You lose the tactile sensation. It disconnects you from many things. That's why sometimes you have to be there. I mean,
Even the things we do with good intentions in the background, actually, they may not be that well intentioned. It harms
us.
us. It can harm us. I mean, I'm there. Yes, I'm listening to a podcast. Maybe it's scientific, maybe it's political, but perhaps I'm burdening myself with an unnecessary emotion, another burden on my shoulders. In the meantime, as that's happening, I'm missing out on something human. I mean, really, to be able to quiet our brains a little, our brains need to get bored. We also need to teach that.
Yes. All of these are actually schemas we experienced or learned during childhood. Why? Because parents don't give us a chance to get bored. When I say I'm bored, they say, do this, do that. Haven't you done this yet? You can do that too. So what do we do when we become adults? I shouldn't be idle.
Yes, absolutely.
Why? Because we have this learned behavior from the past. If I'm idle, it's as if someone is asking me why I'm not doing something. They'll say, why aren't you doing something? Or it's like, I need to absorb more information. I need to be successful.
I think the thing our generation used the most was the phrase, I'm bored. Now we've come to miss that. I guess we wished for bad things, or we wished for too much, and it happened to us. Right now, we're not bored, but instead, we're dealing with 1,001 other problems, right? We need to solve this problem. We need to go back to the state, the cycle of boredom. Otherwise, in that loop, I mean the scrolling one, our lives can slip away inside those videos, and we can be harmed in an irreversible way.
It doesn't just affect us, but our relationships, our children, and their future, of course.
Of course. Exactly.
Yes. We can get bored. I mean, that's our basic motto. Sometimes you have to allow yourself to be bored.
Let's conclude our conversation on that wonderful note. Thank you very much. We talked about some great topics. I hope to see you again for new topics. I wish everyone a good day. Thank you very much for listening and for watching us. Please don't forget to like this broadcast and share it with your friends. As you like it, yes, our dopamine release might increase, but more importantly, these kinds of useful broadcasts reach more people. The algorithm has a downside like that. The more you like it, the more people this broadcast will reach. This will fix our dopamine deficit. I don't know if it will or not, but if we can be of help to one or two more people, then we can say we're happy. Have a good day, everyone. Stay healthy. Thanks.